The Cowboys took care of business against the Jets. I've got some good news I want to focus in on following a 37-22 win over the Jets. A win the Cowboys, I wasn't going to call it a must-win game, but kind of one that they should win, and they did win in the end. If you are hyped that the Cowboys took down the Jets, even though they're a bad team, it is okay for us to enjoy wins when they happen. Show it by liking today's video, please, and thank you. Show it. Simple like, free, simple, easy to do, and we'll dive into some of the good news. First up, there was actually pressure in this game, and a Cowboys defense that had been much maligned, and the raw numbers at the end of the game aren't going to show much. If you want to adjust for garbage time, looks a heck of a lot better because the Cowboys were up 30-6, and then over half the first downs, and most of the points came from the Jets. There was actually pressure in this game. They got home and got some pressure on Justin Fields. James Houston leads the Cowboys in sacks. He has been impressive in that area this year. I don't love him as a run stopper, but that's okay. He does enough pressure stuff that makes it worthwhile for James Houston to continue to get playing time. Osa Odigizua had a sack and a TFL as well. He had probably one of his better games of the season as a pass rusher, at least, for the Dallas Cowboys. Kenny Clark, again, continues to be what feels like one of, if not the best Cowboys player out there. I don't think he was the best today. I think there were some run defense issues that kind of showed up in the middle. I don't think Clark had a great game there. Dante Fowler had his best game, I think, of the year. The numbers only say 1 tackle, 1 TFL, 1 sack. How about pressures here in a little bit? He had 3 quarterback hits in this one. He had 6 pressures in total. The pressure numbers, all per the early stats via PFF, by the way, so subject to change, but I want to mention them. Dante Fowler had 6 pressures on 27 pass recepts, and it felt like it. Multiple times, I'm like, Dante Fowler's making some plays. Dante Fowler's showing up. Ezeraku had 4 pressures and had a couple nice plays in the run game. He was good again in that area. I've been impressed. The sacks aren't there yet for Easy, but the pressures are. Osa had 4 pressures. James Houston had 4 pressures. Clowney had 3 pressures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different Cowboys players had pressures in this game. 28 pressures per PFF. Again, that is per PFF, and then sometimes it's asterisks and everything. They'll change some grades as well. But 23 different plays, by the way, that came on. 43% of Justin Fields' dropbacks he was pressured on. Now, he had a couple touchdowns on those plays, but he averaged 4.5 yards per attempt. Took 5 sacks. It's good. Cowboys defense was much better, and a huge reason for that was they actually got pressures up front. Now, it's the Jets, so if you want to say they're bad, I get it. What is your confidence level in the Dallas Cowboys defense right now? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. I have yet to be able to find the numbers of like down 6 starters, how good is a team. I want to continue to give some love to Dak Prescott. This wasn't even his best game of the year, but it's going to balance out the stats, so to speak, because he had 4 touchdown passes in this game. He was hardly under pressure. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. The blitz numbers, when blitzed, 8 of 13 for 50 yards. Not the greatest, but did have a touchdown as well. The Jets tried stuff. I continue to be impressed by Dak Prescott. 0 turnover-worthy throws. Took 1 sack on a slide down, essentially. I don't think he was perfect. There were a couple missed throws I think he would have liked to have had back. But he just keeps on dealing. He continues to play at an immensely impressive level. I don't know how many starting quarterbacks are out there in the NFL that you could really say, hey, you're going to be down your number 1 wide receiver, your number 3 wide receiver, and 4 different offensive linemen, and you're going to be able to make plays happen, and you're going to be able to win the game. This is the second week in a row they had success under center, which I think is a huge element for this Cowboys offense as things continue there. He has been impressive. He leads the NFL in completion percentage when facing zone. They showed man. I think Dak is dealing at a level that gives you a chance pretty much every single week. I think he actually won with your B game on defense. That's probably the single biggest B game from Dak. Single biggest takeaway, you didn't have your A game from your quarterback. He wasn't bad. He at least gets a B grade for me, but you won. And that type of stuff is critical. That's some of the best news possible, even if it is against a bad team in the Jets. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. They are the only app that offers stacks, so you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. An example of this, I think it was actually Chase Sr. cooked this one up. Drake May, more than a half passing yard, and he stacked half passing TD. It's not a yard. He stacked Josh Allen, more than 1.5 passing TDs, and more than 22.5 passing yards. That's an example of a stack. You can follow Chase on Prize Picks as well and copy each lineup within one click. It's in their new feed tab on the Prize Picks app. Go download that app today at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. I mentioned the offensive line, and we're going to go more in depth on a lot of the stuff that I have seen from this Cowboys offensive line and just Clayton Adams and the run game and all of that stuff. But again, I don't think there are very many quarterbacks out there who are able to handle the way they handle things. I think the play action game matters so much, which he had 4 touchdowns today on play actions, by the way. How about that stuff out of Dak? We're going to go in depth on why I think that's kind of changed everything for the Cowboys offense, the play action stuff. You were down Tyler Guyton. You were down Tyler Smith. You were down Cooper Beebe. You were down Tyler Booker. You only had 1 starter out there on the Cowboys offensive line. Again, these are the early numbers per PFF. Nathan Thomas was the only offensive lineman to allow a pressure. I thought he kind of cooled off after a pretty hot start to the game, but Hakeem Adeniji did not get beat in pass protection, not one time. The 4 snaps Trevor Keegan played did not get beat in pass protection. Nathan Thomas got beat a few times, but he was good. Brock Hoffman didn't get beat. TJ Bass didn't get beat. Terence Steele had maybe one of his best games all season. Quinnen Williams, one of the best DTs in football, had 1 pressure all game. And they did a good job run blocking, too. Look, I think Javonte Williams gets a ton of credit here, too. 16 carries, 135 yards, a lot of after-contact stuff. Let me check the advanced stats here on PFF side. They're giving Javonte Williams 79 yards after contact. He was awesome in this game. You overhauled your ground game and everything involved on that front with the coordinator changes, and you got Clayton Adams and Connor Riley deserve a ton of credit for getting a backup offensive line to play at the level that they did. I am old enough to remember if you lost 1 starter under Jason Garrett, you were cooked. You could never recover. You had 1 starter playing in this game. The offensive line deserves a ton of credit across the board. I'll go back and watch Tom Slott. He played better than the 4 pressures, but maybe there are a couple plays in there, whatever. Either way, incredible performance out of the Cowboys offensive line. Dak didn't want to call them backups. He called them players with an opportunity. They got it today. If you guys did not tune in for our Cowboys versus Jets watch party, that's okay. Hit that sub button so you don't miss another one. YouTube.com/CowboysTV. With Jack Sanborn going out early with an injury, it led to a ton of playing time for starter Shemar James and 3rd linebacker replacement Marist Liufau. I will give Liufau some credit. I didn't love him in coverage. I don't think he's particularly adept in that area. Got beat a couple times. But what a massive forced fumble that was from Marist Liufau. That kind of helped change the game. Because that game, not as, I think, impactful as the Cowboys' Javonte Williams fumble, but that game flipped on that moment. It was 10-3. The Jets were marching down the field. They were inside the Cowboys' red zone, and Marist Liufau peanut punches it from behind. After that play, the Dallas Cowboys rattled off touchdown, touchdown, touchdown before the Jets scored again. It was 21 unanswered after the touchdown, and the game was over. They were done at that point. And that was a huge play from Liufau. I still think Shemar James, and again, I'll go back and watch tonight because I have no life, but there were a couple moments in coverage. I think a lot of it was they're playing the safe coverage up late of just like check down stuff over and over again. I don't think he was elite in coverage, but he was consistently around the football. Liufau also got the pressure on Justin Fields on the fourth down play. I thought both linebackers were better than what we had seen in previous weeks. From a snap count perspective, Shemar James is a starter for you. So should he continue to start moving forward alongside Kenneth Murray until Overshown's healthy if Sanborn stays banned? I thought Sanborn was actually, outside of a bad missed tackle, was actually solid in his, but very few snaps, so whatever. Should he start? Y for yes, N for no. Finally, it was the Ryan Flournoy game. How about that? Who saw that one coming? Ryan Flournoy led all players today in receiving yards. 6 catches, 114 yards, also chipped in 10 yards on the ground. So he was second in all-purpose yards behind the aforementioned Javonte Williams. Ryan Flournoy, a piece for you? Better than Jalen Tolbert? That'll be for Overreaction Monday. But I liked so much of what I saw from Flournoy in this matchup. That was a damn near perfect game out of him. You had to get somebody to step up with the injury to CeeDee Lamb, with the attention being paid to George Pickens, who did beat Sauce Gardner one time for a nice touchdown catch. I thought Flournoy delivered in every way we could have hoped for. Bonus good news, the Eagles lost. Dilly dilly F Philly in the comment section as always. There's still a long way to go for this Cowboys team to be a playoff team and win the NFC East, but the Vikings winning probably didn't help you much on that front. Rams and Niners was kind of a net neutral. I'd expect Arizona to handle business against the Titans, which is a factor there, but Eagles losing is always a good thing for the Cowboys.